Hey everyone, my name is Lindsey Webb, and I chose to read the book called The Ride of a Lifetime by Robert Iger. Robert is the epitome of a leader as he has served over 15 years as the CEO of the Walt Disney Company. He began his tenure as a weatherman and future news reporter and worked his way up through countless television production positions. In 2005, he was offered the job as CEO following the resignation of Michael Eisner. Robert served this position till 2020 and came out of retirement in 2022 to serve 2 more years. Throughout his time as CEO, Robert faced many challenges and overcame them with adversity while creating 8 principles he believes are necessary for true leadership. This book serves as the primary documentation for the many lessons learned by Robert during his time of running Disney and leading its thousands of employees. Through the questions, unknown answers, tough decisions, and technological advances, along with many acquisitions, Robert was able to turn Disney into the largest, most respected company in the world. He stood for innovation, achievement, and pure leadership at its finest, while providing the best for its employees, parkgoers, and revolving community. There is no doubt that Robert faced many challenges unbeknownst to him with determination and grit. He had to fire individuals, lead meetings that could affect the future of Disney, and handle unwanted situations, just to name a few. However, he did so without looking back. During his time as CEO, he had been at the head of several acquisitions made by Disney, including Pixar, Marvel, Lucasfilms, which produced Star Wars, BAMTech, and Fox. Along with each of these procurements came the task of fulfilling their full potential without damaging their established reputations. Technological advancements didn't stop him in his tracks either. BAMTech was a company that had perfected a streaming technology which allowed individuals to subscribe to an online service to watch live actions. With the purchase of the company, Disney was able to stream productions made by Disney, Pixar, Star Wars, Marvel, and National Geographic. Along with this, Disney made it available for users to download Disney shows on iTunes and iPods. One story that resonated with me was the way Robert approached the final preparations before the opening of Shanghai Disneyland, all while hearing about a mass shooting that occurred 15 minutes away from Disney World in Orlando. The day following the shooting, Robert was scheduled to give a presentation to investors, shoot an interview with Good Morning America, meet with Chinese officials, attend a dinner with senior executives, and rehearse for an opening night concert. During the chaos, the team had learned that Disney had quite possibly been the target. As if that wasn't enough to add to his plate, Robert was leading a VIP tour when he received news of an alligator attack that had killed a 2-year-old in Orlando. Robert approached the situation with what he knew best, his own instincts. He faced these simultaneous challenges with the mindset that, no matter how vigilant we are, we can't prepare for everything. Robert took the bad news as an opportunity to work through and solve the problem rather than let it take control of him. He had to remind himself sometimes that he has nothing to add and had to extricate himself by trusting his people to do their jobs without authority telling them to do so. Although many lessons have been learned by CEO Robert Iger, I too believe there are many actions I can take to further develop myself as a leader, one of which being transparent about who I am and what my goals are for my team. Robert states in Chapter 3, page 36, "True authority and true leadership come from knowing who you are and not pretending to be anything else." It is important for me to keep this in mind because I tend to try and make myself look better to impress others while making them feel that I am confident in my job and my capabilities. Robert gives great advice when he says, "You have to ask the questions you need to ask, admit without apology what you don't understand, and do the work to learn what you need to learn as quickly as you can." This quote reminds me that it is okay if I don't know something. No one knows everything, no matter how much they may think so. A little respect goes a long way, and the absence of it is often very costly, stated Robert on page 120. The CEO was in the middle of several acquisitions when he discovered how far respect can take a company. Individuals are more inclined to partake in actions they deem achievable when they are respected and treated fairly. He also states, "If you approach and engage people with respect and empathy, the seemingly impossible can become real. If individuals don't feel respected, they won't perform to the best of their abilities, therefore leading to decreased productivity and future improvements." Lastly, it is imperative to take risk in our ever-changing world filled with technology, innovation, and new transformations occurring daily. As stated in Chapter 9, page 141, nothing is a sure thing, but you need at the very least to be willing to take big risks. You can't have big wins without them. This quote resonated with me simply due to the fact that I am not a risk taker. However, as a leader, it is a necessary skill. I tend to be the person to stick with what I know. In my opinion, the biggest teaching point Robert made clear throughout his book was to take risks because without them, you may be missing out on an opportunity that will fulfill your heart's greatest desire. Relating back to the first action I can take to become a better leader, Kouzes and Posner mentioned on page 68 that to become an exemplary leader, you have to discover what is important to you, what you care about, and what you value. Robert stood for understanding who he truly was before taking authority over others. It is important for us to lead others if we cannot lead ourselves first. It is impossible. No leader ever made anything extraordinary happen by keeping things the same, is a quote by Kouzes and Posner mentioned on page 99 regarding risk-taking in the same sense as Robert Iger has stated in his book. On page 100, they also stated, you have to challenge the conventional ways of doing things and search for opportunities to innovate. This quote resonates directly to Robert Iger as he held the position as CEO for many years. In his position, he acquired several media companies, all while not knowing what the future outcome would look like. Without risk-taking, Disney would not be what it is today. Based on what I've read thus far in Kouzes and Posner's book, Learning Leadership, I think they would praise the book Robert Iger has written with words of appreciation and gratitude. The Ride of a Lifetime is everything Kouzes and Posner stood for summed up in one's life story. Although there are many lessons learned by Robert, I believe I have learned many lessons just by reading this book that I aim to carry out into my world of leadership. Thank you.